And it says we're live.
Yeah, lies. All right, folks. Today, today's Jonna's birthday, by the way. Um,
Yeah.
her cat is 18 years old, geriatric, and
Eats expensive food.
special. If you would like to keep Henry, wait,
Henry has been a companion to me for almost a third of my life. Almost a third of my life. Where I have been subject to looks like this. Sometimes better than looks like this.
Say up close and personal looks, huh?
Well, no, he's a really good cat. But he's developed a neurological tic. And his glossy fur is getting a little chunky like old cat fur.
Yeah.
And he's allergic to everything, including grass. So he cannot go out, and he has to eat special food that's $70 a bag.
Ow.
Yeah, tell me about it. And he's fat. Well, he's not as fat as he used to be. But it's time for his checkup, and he needs his teeth cleaned. And, he's been a really good cat for a long time. And it's my birthday today, where I have leveled up to my 6th decade. And if you'd like to do something nice for my birthday, a contribution to Henry's checkup fund would be the best.
she keeps saying he's a good cat, but he's not. He's not. As a cat, he's a darling little boy, but as a cat, he sucks.
He's more like
I've
a dog.
seen him once in 6 years.
Well, I mean,
He's very dumb.
Henry, it's a good thing he's pretty because he's got a brain smaller than a pea. He's not very bright and he's terrified of everybody. So I started posting pictures about him with "So Says Henry" because people didn't believe I had a cat.
He is a good cat, but he's not a good cat.
Yeah.
He
He's
sucks
not
at
good at
catting.
being a cat.
He sucks at catting.
He doesn't know what to do with bugs. He sort of bats at them, and it's like, and if a bird flies in or a bug, he's like, "Mom, what is this? It's terrifying." So he's not really a good cat.
Yeah.
But he's a good companion and has been.
He's a good cat. He just sucks at being a cat.
He sucks at being a cat. So also, they're running a sale.
Oh yeah, King Harv's
Yeah. Thud.
and Hamilton. That's Hamilton's thing about cats. Yes, the fox's name is Hamilton. King Harv's is doing a sale. If you like coffee,
Yes.
contact King Harv's. I forget what the sale is, but if you get X amount of coffee, they'll send you some of their latest free. Let them know you heard about it here, so maybe they'll send us more coffee. That's a hint. More coffee.
Yeah. Card closer to the camera. Let it focus. Stop shaking. Hold it still.
Close enough. All right. So it is Tuesday. Tuesday, it's book day.
Yes.
Book or guest day.
And we have a few books.
No, don't we though?
Yeah. The first one up is Return of the Bookaroo.
Space Cowboys 3.
3. Yes.
And after Amazon unfucked itself, we're doing pretty good.
3
Therefore-
minutes.
What?
3 minutes.
Oh, shit. I was getting worried because Space Cowboys 3 was way down the list. Raconteur Press never debuts that bad. And it was looking bad. And then they unfuckulated themselves, and it's where it should be.
And the next one is our friends Larry and Jason Cordova with a new Monster Hunters book called
Yes.
Memoirs Fever.
Buy this one.
Buy it. It's good.
It's good. It's a
Takes
good.
place in LA and has a different protagonist this time. She's rather interesting.
Well, there we go.
Next up is Rob Howell with the book that he discussed with us last week. We're Now the Writer, the third book in the Edward saga. And it's going to have some twists and turns in it. And last up, but not least, is our friend James Totten. Breaching Ain't Easy, the second short story in that series called Easy Eights and Breaking Track.
Yep.
Actually, not the last one.
The latest one.
Dorothy's debuted this morning.
Oh,
What?
Dorothy's
Dorothy.
latest book went up this morning.
Frack.
Dust of the Ocean. It's amazing.
So this is the fourth book in the...
Actually, this is not Combined Operations. This is a different series.
Uh-huh.
Well, okay, same universe, but different protagonist, different planet. So
Uh-huh.
Our buddy Cal Spriggs.
it has her Spriggle story in it.
Yeah.
Has a Spriggle story.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Cal Spriggs also has a new one up.
Common Valor series book number 4.
Yep.
Cal's good people. He also has nice tasting shirts.
Yes.
So who else we got?
Yes, Ag, they have been interesting issues with the reporting numbers on sales.
Yeah, and they kind of. I was like, we were at the local barbecue place, introducing Kat to really good barbecue, and sneaking food onto her plate when she wasn't looking.
And she's sitting over there shaking her head going, no.
We did.
I think she's ignoring us.
I think she is too.
I'm not a guest on this one.
Oh, shut up.
You're in a peanut gallery.
We expect comments.
Yes. So where was I? Oh, yes. We were at the Rafter J enjoying some really good barbecue, and I see the girls at the far end, and they're not happy, and they're showing phone back and forth. It's like, all right, what's going on? I don't want to talk about it. Well, that's not good. And then, yeah, and then we took a look at the. They showed me afterwards, and it's like, okay, we were at number 500 the 3 days, like 3 days in, and we're at number 500 in science fiction anthologies, and we don't do that. We don't.
No.
Yeah.
Raconteur Press has a pretty good track record of staying in the top 20 for at least the first 3 days.
Mhm.
This is like top 5, this is 536 or something like that. It's like, well, I told them, it's like, it was going to happen sooner or later. And Courtney's just Amazon, Amazon, and she showed me some other figures, and it's like, y'all need to, whenever you spot Courtney in the wild, sit her down and talk to her about the Amazon trends. She showed me and Jim some trends. Like, well,
yeah.
fuck. Anyway, so woke up next morning and we had jumped from 530 something to number 7. It's like, that's more like it.
Yeah.
Apparently they were dinking around with something on the back end and screwed everybody up again.
And this has become a recurring theme almost on a monthly basis.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Oh,
They changed something, and the thing is they change something and they screw us out of money.
Yeah.
Doing this, we get boned hard out of money.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, we had a screw up, and they put us where we belong, where we can make money, but we don't ever make up the money they cost us.
And that's just
And that pisses me off.
yeah. There was a report that came. Yeah, Tactical Romance.
That's Dorothy started that genre.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Sir Brass. Dot kind of, in lack of a better term, invented that genre.
Yeah.
Not by choice.
her genre didn't exist, so we had to make one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too, Rick. Cloud development means everybody sees the effect of the bug. Yeah,
And it gets me in the budget.
yeah,
And then Amazon they screwed up, they don't fix it.
Yeah.
Or they fix it, they just don't compensate me for screwing me out of money.
other people's computers is right.
Mhm.
I've told that story once or twice.
No kidding, right?
The other thing is there's a report that came out last week. I just lost where the hell it came from.
Oh, your squirrels are.
Yeah. It was in a national publication about the income of authors. And they admitted that the top 10% of authors, indie and basically trad pub, make 6 figures or better.
Okay.
However,
We're going to be there.
the average trad pub author makes less than $7,000 a year.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
The average indie author makes somewhere between $2,000 and $5,000 a year.
And bear in mind, there's a lot of indie authors out there. So,
So the question becomes, what is a professional author? What is a part-time author? Publishers Weekly. Thank you, Brennan. And
Tom says, there I am, sub average again. If you would actually put more stuff out.
Yeah.
Maybe send short stories to publishers you are friends with so that he can send you money.
Yeah.
24. There's 24 of them. Pick 12.
and Tom is going to beat you the next time he sees you.
Yeah, catch me first.
Yeah, Brian, that was one of the commentaries that came in the article, is that many of them are doing it to supplement income or as a hobby.
Mhm.
Which is a good way to look at it.
Yeah. But when you look at the actual professionals, which they went on to state, there are still, quote, professional authors who make less than $10,000 a year as authors.
I bought you a special bottle of bourbon. Ian pissed me off, and I'll bring the empty bottle of Texas next time, and I'll send you home with Texas
Yeah.
bourbon with love.
Yeah.
Look, Texas bourbon.
But the other thing to think about with this is that as a professional author, you can write things off. Now, that is where you have to have an LLC or a business of some type. But you can write off conferences. You can write off trips. You can write off your computer. You can write off, yeah, Sam, professionals get paid.
Yeah.
However, the question is, as you say, how many zeros there are. But the thing is, if you're getting paid and you have a business, you can write a lot of things off. So that actually helps you at tax time. And that's also something to keep in mind, is that if you go to a conference and you sell books, you can write that off. You can make a little bit of money. You're never going to cover at our level. You're never going to cover the cost of going to that conference.
Our current level.
All right.
Jim's getting better every time. Every time he puts one out, he's getting better and better. We're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing. Racketeer Press. Everyone we put out, the roll of checks getting a little bigger, a little bigger.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a long game, folks. Anybody that the author that publishes the multi-million-dollar best-selling book, his first book ever, is a rarity.
Yeah.
And
And we'll usually never repeat.
it's a statistical anomaly. If you're going to get into writing as to make money,
Yeah.
understand it's a long game. That's
Yeah.
why I treat it as a long game. It's get 20 books on your backlist.
Yep.
You
The
can't do that
backlist is
much.
where you're going to make your money. And I've seen this with the sales of my series, where I put a new one out in the series and the backlist gets
Good bump.
sales.
Yeah, get a bump on your backlist.
Yeah. The other thing is, halfway into a 25-year plan with writing. Yep. I'm a little further along than you are, Cedar, but you got to have,
He's a little further along in a lot of ways.
yeah, shut up. You've got to have the guts to do it.
Oh yeah.
You've got to have the guts to accept that you're not going to be perfect, that you're not going to sell that multi-million-dollar book. Hell, I'm happy I sold the first year. I think I sold 225 books in the first year. Now I do that a little bit better than that. But the thing is, yeah, some people go back and read the entire series.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I was getting ready to say, Ag, thank you, is that I've seen people, when I just put the 5th book out in RimWorld, go back and buy the first 4.
We just got a sale on Ghosts of Malta, which we pubbed over a year ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Yeah, it was released in time for TolCon, which was 2022.
Our first anthology, Ghosts of Malta, we pubbed 18 months ago.
Mhm.
We got a couple of sales off of the Space Cowboys right at the Space Cowboys launch. We had a couple of sales that goes to Malta.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing is, yeah, I write random short stories and novellas because the thing you have to do is, in some way, shape, or form or fashion, keep your name out there. Now, some people will tell you, and some people have been successful at it, Peter Grant being one, writing for a year, writing 3 novels, and then putting them up 30 days apart.
Right.
Yeah. Hello, Kelly.
Oh, Kelly.
Hopefully you're not having an update to your DVT other than it's gone.
Those of you not of medical persuasion, DVT is deep vein thrombosis. And if you ignore it for a year, it gets bad.
Yep.
Throw that out there. Not aimed at anybody in particular. Kelly.
Yeah. Anybody? Yeah. Depends on how many copies that are sold. That's a good point too, RK.
Much better now. Good. Jesus.
Yeah. The thing is that if you can figure out a way to keep your name out there every couple of months while you're in between writing the long form novels, that always helps. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't sing happy birthday to Johnny yet.
I didn't want to get stabbed.
She's far enough back, we could probably get it sung before she can get up here with an implement.
Apparently, you are still in range.
Never mind.
See,
It's pretty good aim.
Yeah.
Jonna is like Rita's sister in a lot of ways. My God, they were separated birth or something. And I know what would happen. And I know exactly what would happen if I sang Happy Birthday to Rita. I'd get stabulated.
Yeah.
And not the fun way. So I figured John is the same way. I'm not doing that to her.
Yeah. So I guess in the long form, what I'm trying to say is if you're going to write.
Yeah.
And keep writing.
I was telling Jay, is Jay on here? I was telling Jay, he was talking, he does that new author thing where he sits there and he revises and revises, and he'll sit on a book for ages.
Yeah.
Revising and revising. It's like, no, get it up. Just get it up.
Yeah.
Get it up. So he did. And he's got his next one up and he's writing his next, and just get 20 of them up.
Yeah. And if your muse wants to take a left turn in Albuquerque, which Fine has done, just write it, because you're not going to get back on whatever your prime writing was until you get that son of a bitch out of your head.
I suppose there are people that will be working on something and the muse fucks off to Buffalo and they can wrangle her back and keep writing. That ain't me. I don't have the practice or something.
Well, I got 250 words on my Western last night and about 1,000 on this friggin' novella.
I've got one very important one that's got to get done with a no shit deadline.
Yep.
And a couple others on my personal deadline need to get done. So what am I doing? I'm off writing a really tacky, bloody awful ugh. Then it's well written. It's just that's not ever going to get published anywhere. No.
The library anthology that we're doing for the benefit is in formatting, RK. Did I mention how much I hate fucking formatting? Converting everybody's shit to the same.
I'm not going to say that I created a publishing house so I wouldn't have to do that. I actually created one because I got suckered into it.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was happening until they said, here, you have a publishing house. But that's definitely a benefit is, I can walk in with a cup of coffee and somebody else is having to deal with that shit.
Speaking of coffee, I'm going to take I'm drinking the Cajun blend, and it's good. No, Ben, it's not. It's a science fiction, but it's not in the RimWorld universe per se. It's kind of like Nothing But Time. It's more or less a throwaway, but the muse at 2:30 this morning decided to hit me with a quote unquote good idea of the protagonist giving the female a Marioshka doll and not realizing the cultural change and what that meant. So the boy is now in trouble.
Throw a short story to novella to novel. Shit, I got a series here.
No, I am not John Van Stryke.
You do have a series in that story.
No, I don't. Stop it.
Whether you write it or not doesn't matter. There's a series.
Yeah, the Good Idea Fairy. I swear to God, between the Good Idea Fairy and the Muse, ugh, and I still have to go do research because in this Western series, they're coming back to Texas at one point. So I've got to get up to speed on the Comanches, which is going to mean a trip up to Lawton and the Comanche Heritage Museum and the Comanche Tribal Office up there.
Or you might pop over to the Texas, if the Texas Intertribal Indian Association is still active in Amarillo, it's mainly Comanche. Melvin Kirchie was running that, and he's old school Comanche.
That's on the list. It's just closer right now to go to Lawton. Yeah. Now the problem, Ag, is I think they're both drinking in the same bar. Oh. So, Courtney, what
Yeah.
are you working on
What am I working on? That's an excellent question.
other than the story that
That I still, it's almost done. It's been almost done for way too long. I will have
You notice the two of us going, because we've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost done for way too long. Years.
Yeah. I'm doing a three moms story set for the oil patch, and it will be done in time, I promise.
okay.
So yeah, I'm working on that. Reading for what's the next one? I'm downloading all the submissions that came in on the 30th and October 1st because deadlines are suggestions.
As they go screaming by.
Deadline. Oh, speaking of Tuesday, next Tuesday, we're going to have Casey Uzell on here
Yes.
as we launch Or All Will Burn, Book 1.
And All Will Burn Volume 2 opened, like we need stories at all for it. But it opened on the 1st, but we'll take them.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
take
take
more
them.
stories.
We will take your or All Will Burn stories. We will take them, but she'll be here Tuesday.
Yep.
On live stream because Friday Or All Will Burn launches.
Yes, Raptor, I will give you my notes. It may be a couple of months before I get everything nailed down, but yes, I will give you the notes.
And I would, I'm actually telling everybody this now because I would really, really, really like Or All Will Burn to smash our previous records. Please. So tell all your friends they need to bite. Bloody hell. Tell all your friends they need to buy Or All Will Burn on not this Friday, but next Friday.
Yes.
It's coming out not this Friday, next Friday. Yes, tell them that we're hoping it launches on Friday because Amazon's not a good. Amazon annoys me.
Yes.
Yeah, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, tell the mother-in-law you hate. Buy this book. I want it to smash our previous records.
And I think it will.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sarah, I feel for your hubby.
Spurgles are everywhere.
Loud discussion on his mobile rehashing an intimate encounter on a bus for 90 minutes. Oh,
Good
damn.
Lord.
James, I'll be looking forward to it. James Copley has got a Substack he just started. Good author. The more we can support our friends and neighbors, the better off we are.
I'm not a big fan of everything's ours.
Yeah.
I want to support everybody
Yeah.
because again, Raconteur Press does things a little different.
Yep.
We pay our authors properly. And I do mean that. I do mean we pay our authors properly because I've been talking to folks. Publishing houses piss me off.
I have to. So I may have sold the story to somebody else. I have to print out the contract for it.
Yay!
And I can't talk about it yet because it's a surprise. But I can talk about the story it was that I sold. So
Rising tide boats all goats. Exactly.
Oh, so one of our authors did his calculations to see how much money he was making on the stories he sold us.
Yeah.
Which were 3 postcards. He's making 13 cents a word.
That's not bad.
That's
Yeah.
like blows the 8
That's
cents a word.
13 cents a word is
That's
like
double the 6 to 8 cents a word that's normal from a.
for a
Trad house,
professional,
yeah.
yeah. We pay better than traditional publishing.
I mean, it was a 50-word story, but
Yes, Rick, the issue will change. It is a gift, however, it is also a marriage proposal, and he doesn't realize that until it's too late.
It happens. Anyway, so we're
That's
actually.
what happens when you get cultural drift in different worlds.
Oh yes.
Mhm.
So at least one person we're actually paying better than traditional publishing rates.
most of our postcard people are making that kind of money.
Yeah.
And if y'all will make sure that or All Will Burn breaks all records, we can do it with some more.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Space Command is still working on their uniforms, trying to get the twinkling lights in the cloth.
Where'd that come from?
Oh, Richard.
Oh,
Yeah, there's Space Command. Yeah, no, just never mind.
we don't have hordes of rainbow-haired zombies on staff to pay.
Yeah.
No, not so much.
Oh, speaking of publishing industry, a
I'm going to get stabbed.
friend of mine made a rather
I'm gonna get
interesting comment.
stabbed.
He said, my favorite bookstore, Mysterious Galaxy, which is in San Diego, usually has 1 or 2 authors come in every week for discussion of books and signing. One of the perennial questions is how to get published. In the horror stories of multiple rejections on the first book, one author explained that most publishing houses don't read the submitted story. They rely on the author's publishing history.
This
Of
is not a
course.
surprise. I was guessing that was the case. I've been
Yeah.
guessing that for a while.
Publishers not reading material is nothing new. Think of all the illiterate scribes who copied manuscripts, which is true. Because if you actually go back and look, the monks in the monasteries, by and large, were illiterate. But they could copy things that they saw. So that's really nothing new. And the slush pile. Who's the poor guy or girl that's going to read the slush pile? It's going to be the lowest paid individual.
Probably the intern.
Yeah.
The unpaid intern.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Matt, that's based on a conversation that I had a number of years ago in Italy with a Catholic priest who had spent time in a monastery.
but traditional publishing has been cutting costs wherever they can.
Mhm.
And they've gone to a really, near as I can tell now. I'm not traditionally published. I don't have any traditional publishing experience, thank God. But near as I can tell, as an interested outsider, traditional publishing has gone to this model of 3 best-selling high-name authors and no mid-list.
Yeah.
Whereas used to it was a mid-list that kept everything afloat, and the best-selling big-name authors were the icing on the cupcake.
Yeah.
Because most like everything else, the corporate world has been taken over by MBAs that only see beans.
Yep.
They've done the same thing. They've done their somebody somewhere with an MBA from Harvard crunched some numbers and decided that George Martin was easier to and cheaper and made better return on investment. One George Martin than 100 mid-list. They're incorrect, as they are in most things.
Yeah.
And it's you're getting the crunch.
Yeah. And Jesse raises an interesting point. Sometimes friends in the industry can bite you in the ass when the slush file reader has your contact details, and pings you when you screw up to ream your ass. Yes. Yeah, MBAs and lawyers will run this nation into the ground. They're doing a good job.
I watched them destroy the oil industry.
Yeah.
And I mean it quite literally. I've watched MBAs destroy the oil industry.
Well, they've destroyed Boeing.
Yeah.
You know, when Boeing moved out of Renton and moved to Chicago, the engineers didn't move. They lost control of the company. Now it's bean counters.
I watched them as a child destroy the oil industry because when I was growing up, when I first was college, this oil industry was run by engineers and people. All the companies were run by people that had actually done that in the field. And then in the late 70s, their kids who went to Harvard showed up MBAs and no actual experience. And then in 10 years in the 80s, we're actually running things.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. All these fucking idiot MBA graduates are showing up desperate to prove they're relevant.
Yeah.
So they show up, in this case, in traditional publishing, and well, this is how this is. I have an MBA. Trust me, I know how to make money. No, you don't. You know how to add 2 beans plus 2 beans and get the number your client wants you to get.
Yeah.
That's exactly what MBA is good for.
Yeah, Rick, they definitely destroyed GE. They destroyed Amana. They've destroyed Maytag. They've destroyed General Motors, Ford,
The ranching and farming industry.
Chrysler, ranching and farming. You know, I'm having trouble thinking of things they haven't destroyed.
No, they're like locusts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They show up and they wreck everything. That's
Oh,
just
you forgot to look down your nose when you said Harvard.
Harvard.
Yeah,
Look, it's an MBA. Knuckle
Sir,
sandwich.
Sir Brass, I saw what Raytheon did to people, and that still pisses me off. Hughes Aircraft, which still existed in the 1990s, was bought by Raytheon to get their naval contract subset. And there were promises made to the people out in California that, oh, yes, nothing will change. You'll have your job.
Oh, bullshit.
Within a month, people were being told, well, if you want to move to Connecticut, we can keep your job. If you don't want to move to Connecticut on your own dime,
Mm-hmm.
you will no longer be an employee.
Well, it's
And when they took over, they also bought Flight Test. When they took over Flight Test at Van Nuys, they threw out, Raytheon's people threw out a oil portrait of Howard Hughes that was 6 feet high and 4 feet wide. Threw it in the fucking dumpster because they wanted no reminder of who the previous owner was. So the guys out of the metal shop at FTO went out, pulled it out of the dumpster, and hung it in the metal shop.
bless them.
And when I saw that, I looked at this shop foreman and I said, they haven't bitched about that. And he
They
got
never go down there.
he got a grin on his face. And he said, there's never been a single Raytheon manager walk in this shop.
Well,
Why would they?
if anybody's heard my extended rant on the state of medicine in the United States currently and how it's all the government's fault, it's the government's fault by way of a whole bunch of their MBA buddies petitioning for new laws.
Yeah.
And then turning medicine into corporate medicine designed to make a buck.
Yeah.
And MBAs are all about making the most buck for the least amount of pay.
Yeah, big pharma.
That's
So
how you got retail to where it is now.
Is it hopping over there?
John, I'm being irritated.
No.
I'm sitting here with pointy things, and you're talking about stuff that makes me stabby. I don't know that that's really a great place to be. It's my birthday. Chat about something nice.
Wouldn't be the first time I got stabbed. So
Find something more cheerful.
find something more cheerful.
It's my birthday. I don't want to listen to shit.
It's John's birthday. Be more cheer. Okay. We are
So
actually
what are happy things that have happened in the last month?
we are going to take Jonna and Kat for meatloaf after this.
Yes.
That's happy making.
Yes.
Let's see.
It shouldn't be this much work to think about happy things.
I haven't had coffee yet.
You're probably people.
Mine.
The first
That was cute. Fine.
the first caffeine I've had today has been this, and I'm only halfway through that. So get
And I bring that in self-defense so he won't steal mine.
Mhm.
So let's see.
Dinner on the 21st.
Oh, October 21st. We're having the potluck. So if you've ever wanted to come to Tiny Town, Texas, and go to one of Jim's Saturday dinners, now's your chance.
It's a group dinner. It's no longer mine.
So could you stop with the grumpy shit about friends coming over?
Come over because they like you.
Also, it's free food.
I mean, people come over and they have fun and they're cheerful and they're nice.
Yeah.
You know, and if you would let anybody else on the planet load your dishwasher, it wouldn't be so goddamn much work.
Sorry.
Jesse's actually going to bring something that I want for Rita, and it's a 3D translucent ghost, one of the sheet ghost, and you shove a tea candle up its ass so it glows. So what?
And this is Ian's idea of having fun.
No, it's a Rita thing. Rita's. He put pictures of it on Facebook, I think.
This from a man who uses a sawzall on a pumpkin.
Who gets
It
great,
works.
he gets
does.
great joy from using the sawzall on the pumpkin.
His one on your face is pretty darn epic. I gotta say.
So I want Rita to have a ghost that you shove a battery powered tea light up its ass, so she will giggle again, because I think her giggles are normal.
Speaking of
Yes,
which,
they
you need to go buy more tea candles.
They do?
Because the
Oh,
ones
I
from
have
last
one.
year did not survive.
No, they didn't. And so if people want to bring pumpkins and carve them on the 21st, we can like load your porch.
Oh yes. When you come to the 21st, the gathering of the North Texas Troublemakers on the 21st, if you would like to bring a pumpkin and carve it, we will stick it on Jim's porch for Halloween.
Because then we're going to carve
Yeah, well,
pumpkins at regular dinner.
You have a
So
wall of pumpkins.
Yeah, but then I got to get rid of them.
No, you'll be fine.
smear them with peanut butter. The squirrels will eat them.
It's gonna be some fat squirrels.
Pretty much got rid of all the squirrels.
Now I'm worried. I've seen your silencer collection. I'm a little worried. Oh, I got Jim to cuss him today.
Yes.
We're going to be at this weekend. We're going to be at secret location, blowing. There will be angry putty, and large caliber firearms, and several square miles of open desert. So, and that car is going to disappear this year. It's personal now. Anywho, on to other things. So, Mead Hall Gun Range called me last night and said, "Hey, John Hearn is going to be teaching his Who Wins, Who Loses seminar up here, and I've got you and Jim tickets.
I'm
It's like,
like, yes.
yay! This weekend."
Not happy. Really not happy about that. But John Hearn is well worth going to hear.
Oh yeah. I'd like to shout out to Mead Hall.
Yeah.
Bill is doing really good work. He really is. He is getting some. He got John Hearn, for God's sake. He's getting some. He had John Farnham there last month, apparently. Bill's getting some top flight instructors, and we didn't have a facility where you could get this world-class instruction.
Yeah.
in the center part of the country. Everybody seems to be in California or on the East Coast
Or South Texas.
or way South Texas. So he's, here he is in central Oklahoma, and he's getting some world-class instructors. More people need to go there because Mead Hall does not need to just vanish. He's got fantastic folks coming through there, and all levels of instruction. So if you need firearms instruction, and you're in the center part of the country being ignored by the coasts, take a look at Mead Hall and send him money.
Yeah, very definitely so. Padre and Sir Brass have had a little side conversation going in the chat, and I want to kind of touch on what they're talking about. And
Wait. Nancy says Tannerite is your friend
yeah.
if you're junior varsity.
I love Nancy so much.
I don't think we've got 35 sticks of dynamite to get rid of this year, do we?
Not to the best of my knowledge. We took care of that.
No. Rats.
I'm sure some can be found.
I was gonna launch that car.
Meanwhile, Frank's check liver light goes on.
To get back to what Sir Brass and Padre have been discussing is the difference in training and the comparison between a second lieutenant and a bachelor's and a major and a MBA. One of the things, there are two very great differences between management and leadership. And nothing teaches leadership other than actually being in the field, doing the job.
Making mistakes and owning them.
You can learn the scaffolding to leadership.
Yeah.
But you can't fill it in until you've gotten out there and got your bruises.
Yeah. And boy, do you get bruised. Beat the shit. But when you come out the other side, you understand what leadership actually is. Probably one of the things I learned many moons ago was the fact that leadership goes two ways. It goes up the chain and down the chain.
Mm-hmm.
We had and they still have it, although it's significantly changed, ASW improvement program meeting in San Diego every year for the West Coast, all the ASW assets, surface ships, submarines, aircraft, helicopters. And it was hosted by Third Fleet, who's the 3-star admiral. And the first day, the 3-star and the 2 stars were there. And at lunch every day, either the first class mess or the chief's mess would burn burgers to get money for the plaques that they buy and also for the Christmas parties, things like that. And, the admirals would come in and give their speeches at the start of the conference, and then they would usually go sit in the first row, and most of them disappeared after the first break. Everybody's going, yeah, typical Brass. Well, at lunchtime, all of a sudden, we look at the line, and here's a 3-star, a 2-star, another 2-star, a 1-star, and another 2-star standing in line. Handing them $5, getting a paper plate with burgers and a bag of chips on it, and going over and sitting on the concrete wall and trying to balance that paper plate on their laps, just like the rest of us did. And one of the chiefs went over to the admiral and said, "Sir, we can get you a table." He says, "No." He said, "I need to do this because if I could come out here and these other guys come out here, then that means that you guys are going to get more money." He said, "Because if we don't show that we support you, the other guys are all going to bolt to town and you're going to lose out." And sure enough, he dropped his hamburger. So he ended up with a splash across his pant leg of grease from his hamburger. And he sat through the rest of the meeting with that splash of grease on his pants. Didn't get up and leave, didn't go change.
My Jim and my ex agency is currently in free fall
Yeah.
because of it basically about boils down to crap leadership skills. Because they believe that
We pushed your book, Jim. Where were you?
yeah, the hell were you? We pushed your latest. So our old agency's in free fall because they believe that leadership can be taught, and just you go to a leadership course and here you go, and they don't follow through. There is absolutely zero leadership at our old agency. Movie strikers. I'll bet you're covered in dirt.
Actually, Rick, the command master chief, did give the 3-star ration of shit. But that was to be expected.
I posted on Facebook years ago. I posted 10 principles of leadership with examples.
Yeah.
And woo! The people it was aimed at, half of them thought, "Oh yeah, I know that." Never applied it.
Yeah.
Or well, that doesn't make any sense, and never applied it. Wow.
Yeah, leading by example literally means, or used to mean, you're not afraid to get out there and get dirty or get wet.
Speaking of, we one of our facilities was a zoo.
Yeah.
It was 3 cinder block
yeah.
walls with bars across the front and bars across the top, and it was a 24-man pod, sort of dorm tank. And we had some of them were close custody inmates, but it was built in an old warehouse facility, so dirt falling all the time. And we got gigged by state for the top bars being dirty. So order comes out from the head shed that every shift, an officer would go up on top, walk on the bars, and sweep the bars clean. So that allegedly every month the top of every one of these tanks would get swept.
Yeah.
Well, the first time it happened, I scooted my happy ass up. I was a sergeant. I was the ranking sergeant at the time. Scooted my happy ass up there, bouncing my head off the concrete, and I swept the friggin' bars. And once a month in the rotation, my happy ass would go up there. And why? People, officers break their legs up there. I said, because I'm not going to send one of my kids up there to do something that I wouldn't do. The other shifts wouldn't do that. Guess who had the happiest shift?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've left more managers than I've left jobs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Michael. BSA, Boy Scout Camp's a good one for that too. That teaches you at a very young age the difference.
When they went to mandatory, and when I was a lieutenant, they turfed me from special projects back to the jail. At the beginning of my downfall, I think. I was a shift lieutenant, and they mandatory overtime. You had a list of mandatory overtime, and the first day came out, I told my sergeant, put me on it. He said, "What?" I said, "Put my ass on the."
Yeah.
Everybody's on that. Put me on there too. And I worked I came in and worked 12-hour mandatory overtime more than once. I was the only lieutenant grade that did that.
Yep.
I can't, and it still puzzles me this day why the head shit was mad at me.
Yeah. Doesn't puzzle me at all.
You know? Nope.
I can't imagine why that would be a thing. So,
Yeah, Sir Brass, I've heard that joke. As a matter of fact, I heard that joke from a 2-star admiral the first time.
Salute me and say good morning, Admiral.
Yeah.
Coffee. Oh,
The greeter at Walmart. Because he said that was his next job because he timed out of the 5 years where the defense contractor was going to make money off of him because of his connections.
I had Colonel Avila tell me one time, and looked up, he's in chow line. I said, "Sir, what do I do?" He said, "You tell me whether you want mustard or mayo on this hamburger."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can't figure out why the hell I wound up on the smoke list.
Yeah. Well, all the shit that I got for walking into the pods to talk to those kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not laughing my ass off.
You can't do that. Why not?
And how was he was attached to special projects when he was doing that? And I signed off on it.
Yeah.
Yes, he can walk in. I'm the lieutenant, but signed off on it.
I just have to say that whole Burnham that you went through has gifted us with the best new literary character.
Hasn't it though?
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole the character of Andrew Spergel came out of that whole
Mess.
shit show.
Yeah.
And-
Right, you know,
And every time somebody goes to new depths on his depraved incompetence or incompetent depravity, whichever comes first, I giggle just a little bit in my little cockroaches in my heart.
Yeah. In the cockroaches of your heart.
oh yeah, he had a new.
The Spergel that keeps on gurgling.
No,
What?
Sparkle Sparkle, where he dies because of glitter.
Write it. I'll publish it.
I love
That's an acorn that did not fall far
Or
from the tree.
We got that part figured out the first time I saw her. How's the audible courtroom thing coming? What?
I don't know, Katie. You've been kind of.
Oh,
Kind
oh.
been
A little
with
on
us
the
whole
busy
time
side.
you've
Yes.
been here.
Waiting on other things.
We're a little busy. We're actually very quietly getting everything together. I've got somebody with the professional equipment, and I've got several people that are really, really enthused about doing voiceover work.
it. Mhm.
We'll get there. Other things keep popping up.
I can't imagine what could possibly be in the way. Cough 24 of those.
And runs.
Yeah, the Padre. One of the things that that I've seen change in the last 20 years of military is the lack of trust in JOs to manage things. And I can talk specifically about the Navy because I saw it. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, from the mid 80s, really. And before that, when I was enlisted, a junior officer, a lieutenant, would be sent out as an OIC on a debt. There was no worry, quote unquote, about the good guys getting the job done.
Well, a second lieutenant with a good staff sergeant, with a good platoon sergeant, was the backbone of the Army. And
Yeah.
apparently, sometime during the whole global war on terror, that did not become the case anymore.
Yeah.
You had a butter bar with a good staff sergeant.
Yeah.
And that's that. There you go.
Yeah, up and
That
out
was
has
it.
been bad for functional leadership, no question. The thing is, I had literally was tasked to go be the OIC of officer in charge,
Officer in charge.
and detachment. Sorry, Rick, you're right. Officer in charge of a detachment that was 7 aircraft, 60 ground pounders, and maintenance personnel, and operationally significant at the fleet level. That today would be a full commander, probably 2 full commanders, and a lieutenant commander. So 2 05s and an 04 to herd the cats. And it would only be senior crews. You know, it's a lack of trust.
Well,
And it's the zero tolerance thing.
Michael Yon had this award-winning story, or from Iraq or Afghanistan, somewhere in the sandbox. Award-winning series articles he did, and
Yeah.
I just set my fucking teeth on edge.
Yeah.
Because he was with this one infantry group, and he's talking about the command sergeant major and the colonel were on patrol.
Yeah.
Platoons, last I checked, are run by a second lieutenant with a staff sergeant thumping him around the ear holes to make sure he stays on course.
Yeah.
And you've got a not even platoon level patrol being run by the colonel and the command sergeant major. And everybody was like, "Oh, this is award-winning story by Michael Yon," and I'm just sitting there in shock.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
there's a second lieutenant who just lost a lot of valuable experience
Oh, yeah.
or never got it. There's a staff sergeant who could have run it better. I'm sorry for all the CSMs out, command sergeant majors out there. Your staff sergeant runs a platoon better than you do.
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, command equivalent of more MBAs running everything. Yeah.
Yeah, this colonel wound up in a wrestling match with an insurgent.
Yeah.
Or maybe the CSM did. I forget which. And it's and, this is a line infantry unit.
Yeah.
And this colonel is leading a squad. And everybody was like, Michael Young. Oh, Michael Young, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
And when they started, there's a reason Special Forces operational attachments, are burnt the hell out, is because for some reason in the global war on terror, they decided that a Special Forces team, ODA, was there to do what an infantry platoon should have been doing the entire time. There was no reason that these guys had to do most of what they had to do. You get a bunch of 19-year-olds run by a 21-year-old with a 45-year-old whispering in his ear, and you go out and get stuff done.
Yeah, the problem too is lawyers, because now everything is lawfare, including in the military. Being an old fart, I remember Vietnam too. So one of the things there was to get promoted, you needed, especially in the Army in those days, you needed combat action.
Oh,
You needed the musket
uh,
to hang off your uniform. Nowadays, I think you've got to have,
I don't know. I don't keep
what
track
are
of
the shoulder things?
the rockers?
Rockers. What's the three?
Airborne, Ranger, and Special Forces.
Yeah.
I think Sappers in there too, but I was out before Sappers was a
Yeah.
thing.
So you've basically got to have preferably all three of those to really promote. And, yes, I do remember when the Navy and all services did the downgrade, Matt. That was what actually got me out of the Navy, because in the early 90s, the policy change came down that they were going to realign the officer ranks in all services. So what they did, Tower of Power. There you go. Thank you.
No, the Tower of Power is the rank insignia for Warrant Officer 5.
Now the
Oh, four.
rockers are called the Tower of Power too now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crapman's story is pretty good. But they started this realignment. And in the middle of that, they also decided to, what we called in the Navy, let the NAPA guys get a word in edgewise. NAPA being Naval Academy Protective Association.
Ring knockers.
Yeah. So what they did was, in the new manning levels, they made a decision that for an officer to go to commanding officer level, they needed to have at least 6 years remaining on their contract,
What?
i.e. before retirement.
What?
Yeah. So what that did was basically disqualify any Mustangs from ever going back to CO slot, unless they had less than 2 years active duty. So a bunch of us took a look at that and went, and myself and 4 other guys that I personally knew got caught in that, because we were all up to go back for department head as the next step in going to CO. And the officer detailer at the time, Greg Myers, who hated my guts from an incident many years earlier when I was a debriefing officer, took great delight in calling me and telling me that I would not be going back to department head, and that since I needed disassociated tour, I was going to 3rd Fleet underway. And I went, really? Okay. Well, it so happened I was getting back to DC about every other month for various program meetings. And so I went back to the annex up on the hill above Arlington and had lunch with my former commanding officer and former wing commander who was now a 2-star admiral and head of Navy personnel. And I'm a lieutenant at that point. So here I am, a lieutenant walking through buying a 2-stars lunch. And so we went off and sat in the corner, and I asked him, and I said, why? What did I do wrong? He said, looked at me and said, frankly, not a damn thing. He said, what got you in trouble was the fact that you guys are taking too many CO billets away from the academy pews. Yeah. I said, okay. So I flew back to the West Coast, walked into my boss's office, and I said, literally the following Monday, walked in and said, I'm retiring in 30 days. Don't want a ceremony. And I went out the door a month later, retired in his office. Damn admiral made me throw a retirement party, though. But out of that group of Mustangs that I knew, 32 of us that were either number 1 or number 2 in our respective commands across the Navy, including carriers, all retired within 6 months. So we took 700 years of experience out and went away.
Well, Jay's on here somewhere. He's a Mustang. And
Yeah.
one of these days, I'm gonna get him down here and stuff him full of coffee stout and talk about his.
Yeah, he's got similar experiences to what I have. His might be a little bit more energetic than mine.
Oh, you have no idea.
David, watch it.
Oh,
Yeah, the funny thing is, 4 years later, they changed the policy. So they realized how badly they'd screwed up. Of course, by then it was too late for all of us because we were gone.
on that note, we have done 1 hour and 2 minutes, which is 1 hour longer than when I broke the seal in the custom. Could have been that sort of day. We will have a Thursday. Are you gonna be here Thursday?
No,
I'll be here Thursday.
I will also be here Thursday.
So we will have a Thursday. You're taking Cedar, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Me and Courtney and Jonna will have a.
No.
No, me and
because
Courtney.
I'll be in Dallas.
She'll be.
taking-
Somebody has to leave us.
yeah.
What? I have to go back to work.
Oh, wow.
Uh huh.
Oh my gosh.
Likely story.
I have to be able to make money so I can pay for this trip.
So me and Courtney will be running the show Thursday. Tuesday, what are you giggling about? Oh dear.
It's going to be fun.
Oh no. Tuesday, don't
I'm
forget
glad I'm
Casey
not gonna
Azell.
be here.
Tuesday, Casey Azell will be on here. And not this Friday, but next Friday, Buy or All Will Burn. I'd like to break some records.
Yeah.
I'd particularly like to get cram it down the throat of somebody out on the West Coast.
And buy the books we mentioned today. They're all up on my blog at oldnfo.org, except for Dots because I didn't know about it.
It went live this morning. Like
Ah.
okay, like late last night, like 12:30 p.m. I think.
That's already
So
sorted.
we'll see you folks. Remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
See y'all Thursday. Be safe.
Bye-bye.